Hi, I'm Sonia Kason, and today it's Systems Tuesday. I am CEO of Back Office COO. My company's purpose is to help businesses understand the importance of automation and systems so that they can allow their business to operate at times while they are away. So today's topic, we're going to talk about what you may not think about so much of systems is banking, the importance of banking and how that can impact systems and allow us to have freedom in our business if we make some good choices there. So about 20 years ago, I started my company. I have a residential cleaning company. And when I started, I had some savings, but I still needed to get a loan to help me as I continue to grow with cash flow until I can get my customer base in place. And I started looking at different banks and I chose to move forward with a community bank. And that worked really well for me because the relationship was one that I could develop. It was a relationship that allowed for me to actually get a small business administration loan, an SBA loan. And when I received that loan, that's when I really understood the importance of cash flow because they did put a lien on my condo. And I was very concerned that I did not want to end up back in my parents' basement, although I have great parents, but I did want to make sure that I could pay that loan. And so I really was paying attention to cash flow. And that was probably one of my first lessons of learning about systems because at that time, 20 years ago, the majority of my customers, they paid by cash. Now, of course, I would probably say it's 50-50 between cash and credit card, but then it was all cash. And I don't know if you guys remember, but about 20 years ago, at least in my situation, you had to have your money in by 2 p.m. with the bank or to be credited for the next day. And in the beginning, as I was growing my business, sometimes my cleaners would get done by 4 and I would have to still wait basically another day before I could make deposits. And of course, that impacts cash flow. And then a new national bank came into our market where they accepted deposits until 5 p.m. and they would credit it the next day. So as much as I love my community bank, I did make a change because I did have to manage that cash flow and that system was better for me. Now, since again, I've had different scenarios that have occurred in banking, other things that have come up, which really surprised me were the fees. I'm sure some of you have experienced some of these banking fees. And one of them that was probably the biggest surprise was, again, as I said, most of my clients paid by check. And in my experience of working with banking, each check that was deposited was considered a transaction. And so if I continued, which I did, to have more and more customers come on board that paid by check, then my transactions would go up and then they would continue to charge me more. That was crazy. I'm thinking, wait, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm getting customers, I'm getting paid, but yet I was possibly going to be charged for each transaction, AKA check, that a customer was going to provide for payment. So I started again looking around for better systems, better banking relationships, and ones that, of course, didn't require large fees because cash flow, again, that's part of my concern. As always, we're going to talk about cash flow on another Systems Tuesday. But the point that I just want to continue to drive home is how important cash flow is, how important your banking relationship is. During the pandemic, my banking relationship was very important to me, and they definitely helped me during some difficult times, which I really appreciate. And I know you guys have some great stories out there too. Once a month, we are meeting at our women's roundtable, which is called Women Who Scale. The purpose is for women business owners who are working on systems so that they can scale their business. So is always held on the third Tuesday of every month. You can go to womenwhoscale.org to find out more about that. But in the meantime, what I would love to hear about in the comments are, what are your stories about banking? I know you guys have some great ones out there because, again, I love spending time with other women business owners, and we do talk a lot about different stories that we have so we can continue to help one another. And that's really the purpose, of course, of Women Who Scale. So I hope to meet you in person at our next Women's Roundtable on the third Tuesday of the month. But in the meantime, put some comments below because I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have a great day.